Wizards of the Coast will not continue dumping Amazon product indefinitely. At some point, they will have to find a way and ask the question, how do we get the player base buying sealed product again? Adapt or die. That is what is facing Wizards of the Coast. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. Welcome aboard to all the new subscribers joining up, as well as joining in that conversation in the comment section, to my regular viewers who tune in each and every day, as well as my amazing Patreon members for supporting this channel. Thanks again, everyone. Wizards of the Coast is going to have to eventually face the fact that even if they won't admit it to the public of Magic the Gathering, they made a mistake. Even if it's only being vocalized by a majority of players and being left alone by the silent majority, it's still out there that players are unhappy. LGSs are unhappy, and they have to do something about it. The production numbers that they keep pumping out that get dumped on Amazon right now will not continue forever. Wizards of the Coast cannot keep a model of design like this where they continue to lose profits that they're hoping to get in for their future savings. You can't keep investing in a game like Magic the Gathering without seeing the returns you had predicted in the original run. So if you're used to getting, let's say, $85 a box, $80 a box, $79 a box, whatever the number may be that they're expecting to get, and they end up only getting $50 or $40 as it was fulfilled by Amazon on some dump just trying to get stuff out of their warehouse, that is not a profit-winning strategy, and they know it. They may not admit it to anyone, but they know it. So now they've got to go back. They have to go back to the drawing board in the ivory tower of the corner room with my nachos and cheese and figure out what it's going to take to get players buying sealed product again. Don't underestimate a company like Wizards of the Coast to be inventive, because they can be, and they are. They have amazing people working for the company who had nothing to do with the decisions made at the top. Nobody can say Brothers War isn't a good set. It's fun to play. I love Dominaria United. Fun set. Love seeing the cards I saw. All these sets that have come out are actually pretty well built. I even like New Capenna. I loved Kamigawa. I like the Phyrexian storyline. Everything has the right tone for me as a player for Magic the Gathering. But that is not translating into sealed box sales, because anyone buying sealed boxes is looking for something. They want that particular thing that makes them interested in buying a box. And everyone has their own reasons for buying it. They could be an evil flipper investor, and they want to see things like serialized cards, even serialized boxes. I've been told, you guys know. At the same time, you could have a player who just cares about a really good story with great inventive mechanics that make the game work well together and invites new possibilities and new brew mechanics that they can just dive into as future sets unfold. That gets a lot of players too. For other players, it's the price point. The pure fact that they were priced out of buying products they may have had an interest in buying, like, everyone was supposed to be able to enjoy the 30th anniversary collector packs, but most of the player base did not feel that way. The silent majority or the vocal minority, however you want to say it, they weren't happy. So that leaves Wizards of the Coast with this need to adapt, and adapt quickly. Don't expect any fast changes. We talked about this. They've got contracts already in place with a lot of their card companies that they do the printing with, Cardamonde and such, that those cannot be broken without heavy penalties. They will ride those out. Those are going to end up in warehouses. If anything, you can expect Wizards of the Coast to actually restrict supply. They can artificially create scarcity by just not putting a lot on the store shelves and not fulfilling allocation and just choke pointing things off to make players think that there's not as much out there. It's not a bad strategy. It's worked in the past. But after that runs its course, then they've got to come up with actual strategies for the company to start coming out ahead, which means you can expect probably some power creep. I know I would. If you were looking at me as a player and I, as an evil investor, want to buy your sealed product again, you are going to have to do a lot to get me back buying those cards instead of just seeking out the singles. I don't know if Wizards of the Coast is ready to create new reserve list cards. I think they should. I'm not sure if they're there yet. I'm not sure if a secret layer counts because they haven't said anything saying they won't reprint secret layers. I want something in writing as an evil investor saying, here are the new cards. I don't know if they're ready for that yet. I don't know if they've touched that deep, but they do have that in the war chest if they need it. It's a big loaded weapon. They could just say, we're adding to the reserve list. Here's the way it's going to go. And that will restore consumer confidence, at least in the evil investor side. If they signed off with lawyers and stuff, that would definitely get the ball rolling. Freezing price points is probably another strong one they can add in, saying for the next such and such a date, we will not raise prices. Putting a little water in their wine and choking things back, letting players know they're going to share in the pain, and this is what we're now going to have to do to keep the prices in check. That's another good, strong point. Communicating with your LGSs, Wizards, will be another way that they can start getting players going again by offering proper prize support and getting players into the store so stores can sell single packs in draft nights and in FNMs or some kind of chaos draft series they can put together with current sets. But Wizards supports the prizes. They send it out to their premium stores and regular WPN stores and get players back inside saying, hey, you're going to spend $30 at your local LGS, which Wizards gave a discount on the packs, of course, to support them instead of dumping it on Amazon, and then getting players in there, and they've supplied us with good prizes. Some nice promo cards that players really want to get their hands on. These are things they can do, and it will not be difficult, but it will get the ball rolling. And when they put that all together, it may still not be enough for some players, but it's a point in the right direction to say they've got options. They can adapt. They are inventive. When I look at it as a player, as myself, and I say, what's it going to take for me? If I saw boxes locally for $50, I'm going to buy them. If I saw boxes locally for $99 a box Canadian, I'm probably going to buy them. We don't get the deals around the world that my viewers in the US get. We don't have the same price points. We have import fees, all kinds of stuff that get tacked on to raise box prices. So we don't get the same deals you guys all get there. And congratulations, you guys get some sick prices that we never see. But if I can get a box here in Canada for $99 a box, I will start buying again. I couldn't help myself because the upswing later on, or the fun I could have with those boxes, is a little too good to pass up on. But that's not what we're facing because the LGSs here cannot compete. And that makes that unfair environment. And I know for a fact that LGSs are cutting back orders massively. There's not a store I've dealt with right now that hasn't had massive withdrawal of their product runs. They're just lowering everything by 50 to 70%. Why should they carry the burden and the costs? That's going to find its way back to Wizards again, informing them without really saying it that something's wrong, you got to fix it. And when you look at the Amazon dumps they're doing and the fact they can't keep doing it, it just doesn't make money for the company. You're just dumping off dead assets at this point to try to break even so the company doesn't bleed too bad into your fourth quarter. They will get a little bit sneaky at first. Expect that, like any good company, they've got to try to drive the sales there. And that means they can do things like artificial scarcity. They can just choke things off at a certain point, making it hard for stores to get what they want, making the players believe they've already lowered production runs. It won't be that fast. Anything up into probably after Phyrexials 1, after March of the Machines, well into 2023, I consider that artificial scarcity. If they do anything saying it's hard to get, it's really not. I'm not a Timmy. I know how it works out there. They're just holding it at the warehouse level. And I definitely don't really expect any price increases into 2023 unless it's a store raising a price because they're almost out of business and they have to find a way to raise revenue. Other than that, don't expect it from Wizards of the Coast. I don't see them jacking up prices because everything has a breaking point. They've already seen that the ceiling on the collector boxes is not $250. That raised so much anger and dust cloud of frustration that Wizards kind of knows. Even if they don't want to admit it, they know what they should and should not be doing going forward. But I'll tell you, as a player looking forward and looking at all these things they can do, lowering prices is not an option. They're not going to lower them. They will freeze them. I can see them freezing prices or actually giving LGSs a discount, and then the LGS just doesn't raise their price. so they actually make a little bit more of a profit margin on the boxes. That could happen. They could have some kind of special going on where it gets dumped to a distributor and the distributor gets to take some product in. I don't think it'll be huge because I think it takes a lot more logistics to do all those distributors and all those LGSs than just dumping it on Amazon. But at the same time, if they wanted to make it happen, they can make it happen. They've got a lot of bridges to rebuild. A lot of time is going to have to be taken. But the Amazon dumps can't keep going. If they don't put some nice new mechanics in the cards, if they don't get a little more inventive in what they do, they are dooming themselves even faster than they expected going into the new year. Because player sentiment has not really changed. It isn't really turning around. Even like I thought people would simmer down by this point, and it's not really happening. And even if there is a large base of players who really don't care, they're the casual player, it's the vocal minority of people yelling and screaming and kicking up the dust cloud. That's what Wizards is seeing. That's what you're seeing on all the YouTube channels out there. Even if this is only 3% of the player base complaining and 97% is not, they're seeing the 3%. Because the 97% are still not buying every day. They're a casual buyer, buying a few packs, maybe splitting a box with some friends once in a while. It's not the same as that 3% who's probably spending 50 to 60% of the money. Because I know all my friends aren't buying, and they were big, heavy spenders in Magic. This is going to be an interesting time in 2023 to see how they take it, to see what unfolds. I only know that the Amazon dump is not the way to go, and they, as a company, are going to have to shift tactics. And if you guys are smart players out there, you will look and recognize some of these tactics before they happen. You will comment in the comment section today and let me know what you're thinking about and what tactics you think they might use. Because I'm sure I didn't cover all the bases here today. I'm sure there's lots of information out there that some of you may know that I don't. Share it with our community here. Put that stuff down in the comments section. What do you think is going to happen? Because it's going to change. The direction will change, but how will that direction come to us? In what pathway will the direction take? Will they try to venture out into new single secret layers? Will they put new singles products out that are smaller batches that cost more money, like that March of the Machine stuff? Players will bite on that. There are some players who are looking forward to it. I know it. But will it get the evil investors buying boxes again? Will it get players splitting boxes with friends again instead of buying the singles cards? That's going to be interesting. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel. What's it going to take for you guys to start buying? What is your mark? Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Big shout out to all the fantastic patrons on my channel who make videos like this possible each and every day. Without the Patreon support, there wouldn't be a channel here. Patrons make the day. Welcome back to the end of the credits, guys. I have to say, when I started thinking about this as a question, what would it take for me to start buying? If I could get Amazon dump prices here in Canada, in a Canadian dollar, spending half of what boxes normally cost, I would definitely be buying still. I'd still be storing cards away. I couldn't help myself. It would look like too good of a deal. Everyone has their price, they say. Everyone. But what is that price, and what is the moral behind your price? Like some people, it's like, I just don't like the price. Not the products. Products are great. I hate the price. But some other people will say, I just hate Wizards of the Coast right now. I'm never going back. Those people may never change their minds. I'm not that far along. I'm mad at them, sure. I think they took an opportunity and squandered it because they based something on prices that players couldn't afford. And that makes players jealous and wanton, and they want to have it. It's not they didn't enjoy the idea of the product, but it's out of their grasp. And it didn't have to be. It's not so special that they couldn't have done it a certain way to make it better. They could have chosen different artwork so it wouldn't clash with collector's edition. They could have chosen whole new pieces of doing the frames so it doesn't clash with collector edition cards, but they didn't. They had to make everything so tricky and convoluted and ridiculous, and they overpriced it, and they lost out on a market opportunity for the 30th anniversary that really would have gone down well, at least in my eyes. As a player, investor, I would have totally been behind this. So they messed up, but if prices go cheap enough, I can't help myself, I'll start buying. Because at some point, if we have a choke point of cards like this and the singles market gets out of skew, players will probably start opening boxes anyway because cards could become too expensive because nobody's opening the box. Interesting times in Magic. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks. I hope you're having an awesome day in the world of Magic and you get to play a little bit here over the holidays. I'll see you guys soon. Have an awesome day.